Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Jaylene, and this is your message from Spirit for April 22nd. I'm so excited that you're here because I've got some great messages for some great people. But before I start, I want to let you know that we've restructured, the Infinity Fans Club a little bit, just so that we can make it a little bit more attractive and, to those who wanted more exclusivity to your message from Spirit. Some people had been sharing the messages publicly, and I was okay with that. But those paid members wanted to remain confidential. They didn't want their messages out there. And we started looking at the structure again. So I've always told people that your message from Spirit is going to be free for members of the Infinity Fan site. So if you are an Infinity friend, you are always going to be entitled to your message from Spirit. And the way it works is that you join the club and you just go in and make a comment. And if I'm feeling, hearing, seeing, sensing anything around your comment or your question, you may even ask a question. I'd be happy to answer it. But if there's anything like that, then of course I will be answering, and telling you what I'm feeling by way of video, just like I am here today. And I will be giving you your direct message. Now, for paid members, which are Infinity Soulmates, those people did not want their videos shared with everyone. So what I decided to do was make your message from Spirit a little bit more exclusive for these members, in that I have 3 people that I've picked. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing individual video messages focusing only on them and their question, or if I'm sensing something around them, they're going to be receiving a personalized video to their inbox. And if they wish to share their message, then they can, but I will not be sharing their messages publicly. So I want to get started. And of course, these are people that are, members of the Infinity Fan Club. And so if you're not a member, you can certainly join Fan Club. I do believe it says at the top of the website here. And please feel free to go join and go check out all the goodies, because there's a lot of perks, especially with the paid membership. And you may want to check that out, because there's discounts, there's a welcome package, and of course there's free readings being drawn every single month, and you don't even have to enter, a contest for that. This is just something as a soulmate member that you're entitled to. So go check it out. Now, the very first person I had here to read today, and I had a message from the other side, is for Kaylee Bond. And Kaylee is so happy that you wrote in, and you had indicated that your son had just been diagnosed with an illness. And I'm going to tell you, I felt so strongly around you when you wrote in. And so you had asked about your grandpa, but I'm going to tell you, I had a lot more than just your grandpa, around you. And then, just sensing so much love and so much support for this child of yours. So I feel really good about that. Now, if that's your grandpa coming through, I would get the sense of September being important. So I don't know if it's a birthday, an anniversary, or passing, or I don't know if it has something to do around your present situation. But I want to tell you that if it's not September, September is the 9th month, so it would either be 9, 18, or 27. And 9, 18, and 27 are all numbers, of course, equaling 9. And if you look at 18, 1 plus 8 is 9, and then 27, 2 plus 7 is 9. 1, 8 is also October 8th or January 8th, or August 1st to the 10th. And then 27, if we had to dissect these numbers, would be February 7th or July 2nd to the 20th. Birthdays, anniversaries, passings are very important events, or life-changing events. And so I'm hoping that you'll be able to relate to that. And I'm going to let you know that they do make me feel that there's a lot of hope around this child. So like, in other words, I would think that this child is hopeful, or maybe not old enough to really understand what is happening. And so maybe they don't know the severity of it. And of course, when we're not fed negative thoughts, of course, we tend to do a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying that this is not a serious thing, because I really don't know what's wrong, around your child. But I'm going to tell tell you that I feel really good and at peace with the energy that I'm feeling around you. Now, I don't know if there's also something to do, I don't know if it was something to do with fish and chips or something to do with someone that fished a lot or ate tuna or tuna casseroles, but I kept on seeing that. I know it sounds really silly, but there's something very, very strong that came through around that. And I don't know why someone was showing me that, unless it's an event that just occurred in your family. And if it is something that happened within the last week or so, I would think that you had spiritual company over for dinner. And it's as simple as that. Kaylee, you need to be very, very, how would I say it, very faithful in what it is that you're looking for. Make sure that, especially with the illness around our children, we tend to worry, we tend to think of the worst possible things that are going to happen. But I'm going to tell you, don't do that to yourself. Make sure that you're only focusing on positive. Think of what you want, not what you don't want. Despite all of the humps and bumps that you're going to go through, because, my mother had cancer. It was very difficult for us, especially in the beginning stages. It was very, very hard acceptance and, having to get things done right away and having to scurry and, meet with doctors. And then your new life becomes going to doctors and hospitals. So I can totally understand what you may be going through. But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you that children tend to be more resilient because they don't have the same attraction or the same fears we do. They think about playing outside and playing their video games or seeing their little buddies. They don't really think about, oh, geez, if this treatment doesn't work or if that doesn't work, I'm SOL, And so when kids have this type of outlook, it just really makes look at that child and observe that child. There's going to be days that are rough, but there's going to be days that are going to give you a lot of hope and a lot of reasons to smile. And sometimes it's not easy to go through this type of thing, but you have to make the best of it. You have to really stay positive and focused only on getting positive results, that the child is going to heal, that everything's going to turn out good, and that you're going to make it despite all of, these things that are going to be thrown at you. You're just going to go through that storm and you're going to make it. So you need to think like that. And I'm telling you that because this lifetime, Kaylee, is all about the imagination. And if you think about things, you'll attract them enough. You don't have to go, putting things up on a board and, and thinking that you're wishing about it the right way. All you have to do is really feel it, honey. So feel it with your heart that everything is going to be okay. Trust it and make sure that you follow everything that the health professionals are telling you to do. You need to just be very positive. Make sure that you're soaking in everybody's positive energy and everybody that's going to be along your path to encourage you and help you. Make sure that you soak that all in and take it all in. Don't be embarrassed about taking the help, and don't be embarrassed to ask for it either. And you make sure that you take care of that child and of yourself. Make sure that you have a good break, sweetie. Okay? All from the other side and from me too. Now, I'm just going to let you know that I do believe your grandpas are there. I do have younger people that come around you. So I don't know if that was like a younger person in your family or maybe someone when you were younger that would have passed away, but I'm going to get the sense of that. If not for you, for a husband around you, but I'd almost get the sense that, and please don't take this the wrong way, but I would think that there would have been 2 serious relationships or maybe 2 marriages around you. I would think it would belong to the first serious relationship, not the second one. So if that's not your situation, I'm not suggesting that you're going to get remarried. I'm not suggesting that you're going to have a second partner. It's just the way I'm getting that. So I don't want you to read into that any further than that. Kaylee, I want to thank you so much for being part of the Infinity Fan Club. And I'm so excited and happy that, you're written in. So thank you so much. And, I hope you understood your message. Now, the next person is Tony. And I think I wrote Paris, if that makes any sense. But Tony, there's a male that comes around you quite often, and he's very, very handsome. He makes me feel that he died way too young, or he left too soon, or he was shortchanged somehow. Now, I don't know exactly what happened to him, but I'm going to tell you that he makes me feel he's been gone a rather long time. And so I don't know who that would be for you, but I would get the sense that that's connected to you because this male makes me feel that he comes around you quite often. Now, for your mother, if this were a father figure, and this is your mother, for me, your mother would have remarried, or if this is a grandpa, then your grandmother would have remarried, but they make me feel that the female has remade her life, so they make me feel all excited about that. I don't know if around you have authority figures or even police officers, that kind of thing, firefighters, but they make me feel to acknowledge that, and they make me feel that there's good news around someone like that. So I don't know who that would be for you, but definitely connected to you somehow. So if not a relative, it would have to be a very close friend or someone that you're connected to, like a very, very close bond, not a friend you haven't seen in 3, 4 years. It would have to be someone that you see quite often. Now they make me feel, and you have to watch around, burns for hands or little nicks to hands, but they keep on showing me ouches for hands inside, nothing serious. But just watch around that last couple weeks, next couple weeks. So if that's not happening next couple weeks, I'm good to go, but just watch around that. It's not to worry you, so I don't want you worrying. The handsome male makes me feel that he's around you quite a bit and that he's kind of followed you around for a number of years. So I would think that this person's been gone possibly since you're younger. And so, and he's around all the time. So I feel pretty good about that. I would think, Tony, as well, there's another female around you. So I would think either a sister or a sister-in-law, rather close, that they want to acknowledge. They make me feel that there's some positive changes around that person. I don't know if there was like new relationship or if it's not a new relationship, like a love relationship, I would think a new job relationship, like new relationships at work. I don't think it would be a move of homes or apartments, although it's possible. It's really not what I'm getting, but they make me feel that the person that you're connected to, or a sister type of figure, or a sister-in-law, very close, I would think. They just make me feel that there's some positive changes there, some changes coming very, very soon, and new relationships. I feel pretty good about that. Tony, I want to thank you so much for writing in, and I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful evening. I think that you're going to have some relief around you coming up really soon. They make me feel just to get a little bit more rest. My ankle is sore for you, and I don't know why. So I don't know if that would be like a partner, husband around you, or yourself. But my ankle's a little bit sore. When I looked at your name, I started getting an achy ankle, and then it just went away. So I hope that's all it is. But anyways, I hope you have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much, for writing into your message from Spirit. And thank you for being a member. I really appreciate it. The next person I had, Shantel, with no last name. And Shantel, just wants to know if there was anybody around her. And oh my God, it's like, Shantel, you opened the freaking floodgates. Let me tell you, as soon as I read that, I felt 4 around you immediately. 2 made me feel they really, really looked alike. So I'm going to tell you, I think twins or people that are either were born in June or passed in June. 1 gives me the number 21 or 12. So I didn't know if it was December or the 12th, because December, of course, is the 12th month. Number 12 is January 2nd to the 20th or October 2nd to the 20th. That could have been 12. Or it could be like 2-1 if you flip it around, which is February 1st to February 10th. There's something to do with that. So they just made me feel that there's some important dates around there to acknowledge. There was one spirit, I don't know, when someone has an infection in the blood, either that or maybe they had cirrhosis of the liver. There's definitely something wrong with the blood. I didn't think it was like a hepatitis or anything like that. They made me feel very specifically like an infection of the blood, or I don't know, just really felt heavy, or maybe like a cirrhosis that doesn't clean the toxins out of the blood, and the person's very, very ill. But anyways, they make me feel that they're flying straight. So I'm just going to tell you that person really suffered before they passed away. And there's a lot of guilt around the way the person looked. So example, like when my mother passed, she was so thin, you could practically see through her cheeks. Excuse me. And it was unbearable for us to watch her just deteriorate like that. I mean, she was down to like 64, 65 pounds at the time she passed. And for the longest time after my mother passed, I used to have my little bouts, you know, where I'd miss her, but I'd start to think about the suffering she endured and what a good woman she was, and how it was so difficult for me to see her deteriorate and suffer like that, and such a beautiful person, for her not to be able to speak for a couple of years. She couldn't speak, she couldn't, but the world was in her eyes. You know, she looked at you with purpose, and you know, she couldn't talk, but you could tell from her expressions, even though she couldn't say more than a couple of syllables, that, you know, it's almost like she knew what she wanted to say. But it was so difficult to see such a beautiful, intellectual, outgoing woman that helped so many people, you know, doing her readings and changing lives, deteriorate herself and be so deteriorated, and so, I don't know, just so, you know, Alzheimer's sucks. It really does. And so when we watch our loved ones go through something so difficult, it's almost unbearable. I mean, my mother was my absolute best friend. She was my mentor. She was my love. She was my absolute everything. And I mean, when I lost her, it was like losing myself. It was absolutely awful. But you know, I wished her death almost every single day. And the reason why I wished her death was I just felt that she wouldn't have wanted to live like that. But you know, I learned a lot from her, because I learned that it was still her purpose to go on. It was still her purpose to live on, even though the fact she was suffering, even though, you know, she was going through these terrible things and not being able to communicate in these things. Other people were still learning from her existence. She was still serving her purpose here. But I lived with that guilt of watching her. Some days I couldn't even go to see her. I couldn't, because I mean, I couldn't even bring myself there. I'm sensitive. I had spirits flying around me left, right, and center. I was like being bombarded, and I'm thinking, my God, like I can't even go visit my own mother because I'm just like feeling like terrible. But the thing is, you can't carry that guilt, Chantal. You can't. And the thing is, I think that you're carrying that, and every time you think of whoever it is that really suffered, and I think it's a male, but every time you think of that, I think that you think that that person still suffers, but I'm going to tell you they don't. And the reason I'm going to tell you they don't is because being dead is a totally different consciousness. It's totally different ballpark. You know, here, if you're imagining having a dream, you're sleeping at night, the house could be burning down, you're having the most beautiful dream. And in your dream, you're seeing from here out, because you don't have, you know, the body attached to that consciousness or to that subconsciousness. So you're not attached to anything physically. You know, when you're dreaming, you don't have any awareness of having anyone around you, moms, dads, that kind of thing. And I say that quite a bit, you know, but I want to drill that through people's heads, because I'm going to tell you that when you think of these things, it's just going to weigh you down if you don't change the way you're thinking about death. And I think that's really what's holding you back. So the thing is, there's the guilt around a female, okay? It could be a guilt over a female's passing, but I'm thinking it's male, as I'm picking up. I'm getting a lot more than one now, but there's a guilt around that. And Chantal, you really need to let that guilt go, sweetie. You need to let that go, because you can't, every time you think of that poor person, that parent, or that really close person that you lost, and you think of their suffering, I could just see you crying and crying and crying. Instead of that, maybe think about what they're like right in the present time. That was then. They don't have that body anymore because they've let that go. The body's either, you know, interred, it could be cremated. So the physical part of it is left behind. It's just like when you're sleeping. When you're sleeping and in your bed, you're not thinking of your physical body sleeping. You're just having this great freaking dream, like, you know, oh my God. So like, you're not thinking about you're having to go to work at 7 o'clock the next morning, you're going to be late. If you don't eat your oatmeal, oh my God, you're going to starve at lunchtime. You don't think of all these freaking things. All you're thinking about is, oh my God, look at this freaking dream. Look at all those jewels in that jewelry case. Or, oh my God, look at that beautiful field of flowers. Or, oh, there's my mother. I haven't seen her in like 10 years. And there's my mother. And like for me, when I see my mother in my dreams, it's because she's visiting. Oh yeah. So, again, I can't tell you how to feel, but all I can do is enlighten you in that subject, and just to let you know that they're around all the time. What am I feeling around you? I'm feeling a person that thinks, or makes me feel, I should say, that you're carrying way too much guilt around the way someone passed. You need to let that go. They're around you, so happy that they're around you. I keep on seeing candy canes, so candy canes are important, or little canes that are striped red and white, just like candy canes. So I don't know if that's a significance to you. And they're also showing me Hubba Bubba Bubble Gum. So Hubba Bubba Bubble Gum, big chunks of it too, and it's rather important. So I don't know. I don't make this stuff up. I just listen to it. Anyway, Shantel, thank you so much, for even asking that very simple question, but it's amazing what a little simple question can do. I want to remind everybody, that I have, some shows and some events that I'm doing. North Bay, actually tomorrow, so I'm so excited about that. And I'm going to be doing a nice dinner there as well. And there's still tickets available. So it's a 3 to 5 o'clock. And in Sturgeon Falls, 11 until 1 o'clock and 3 to 5. And just to let you know, tickets now become available for Sault Ste. Marie, Blind River, and Little Current in May. June, Kirkland, Cap, and Hearst. And July so far, Gravenhurst, Barrie, Owen Sound, and Perry Sound. And don't forget, if you're wanting to receive a message from Spirit, you have to be a member of this Infinity Fan Club. So go ahead and join. You'll see the Join Fan Club at the top on the right-hand side when you're navigating on the website at mediumjlane.com. And I just want to let you know that I love you all so much, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.